Super awesome guest today on the show. Very excited about this. Literally a living legend of the sport. Has done so much for it in the amount of time that he's been involved with it. We'd like to welcome Mr. Forrest Griffen to the show today. Thank you so much, sir.
I like that Mr. as opposed to, Mrs. or,
Right. we like to add a touch of class.
I'll take whatever I can get, man. I'm not too picky.
I mean, I could have called you Dr. Forrest Griffen. I just don't know if that's legal.
I actually make people refer to me as doctor I did flunk out of nursing school. That practically makes me a doctor.
Good point. That's valid. That's very valid. And the week of 4th of July, July 1st through 6th, you're going to be at the Fight Expo happening.
Oh my God, you got the same notes in front of you I do. Oh my God.
Yeah, right. And so can we expect
Vegas,
you?
Baby.
I'm wondering if you're going to give any of these lessons that you learned in nursing school. Can we expect any of that at your seminar?
Oh, good segue. I like that. No, I will not be teaching the CPR. Although I used to gas people out, like guys big, jerks that would come in and roll. I would gas them out, and then I would just mount them and do CPR on them, like when they were just dead tired. Like I would do the Bugs Bunny. I would let them throw me around like a rag doll and try to submit me for like 3 or 4 minutes, and then when they were just so tired, I would spend the last couple of minutes around just giving them CPR.
That's
fun of them. Did they ever tap out from that, or did they just let you do it?
Yeah, they did, but I wouldn't stop anyway. I'd be like, no, you don't get to tap out from
Of course.
CPR.
You got to tire your victim out.
Just hope I don't give you mouth-to-mouth, buddy.
That's usually how my Friday night dates go,
If they end in CPR with the hope that there will not be mouth-to-mouth.
I'm hoping to tire them out enough to where they just let me give them mouth-to-mouth.
Yeah. Just that's actually how I got my wife. I just kept bugging her until she was like, dude, whatever. Sure, we'll get married. I don't care. Just leave me alone. if I marry you, will you leave me alone?
Is that?
And I was like, well, technically, yeah. If you really want a man to leave you alone, marry him. He won't have anything to do with you.
Was the marriage certificate cheaper than the restraining order?
That just makes you want him more.
So would you consider that a verbal tap out in the relationship?
Well, just basically when she said, sure, I'll marry you, no problem. I knew that she was done with me. She knew.
Just
we wouldn't really have to communicate anymore.
Throwing in the towel on life. That's it. It's over.
Yeah. I did that a long time ago. It's not that bad. It doesn't change that much.
So what are you going to be doing?
Hey, speaking of UFC Fight Week, great fights that night. I'm excited about UFC 175, actually. It's been a long time since Chris Weidman has fought. And I'm a little worried. He's fighting Machida, and Machida's just a freak. Like, he's not human. He's one of those guys I watch, and he upsets me because he makes things look too easy. Do you anybody want to second this?
I don't know if he makes it look any easier than Anderson Silva did, though, for a long time.
No, but the difference is it hasn't looked easy for Anderson Silva in a couple of years. It's been looking easy for Machida, and Machida still has, he had the fight with Shogun, the 2 fights with Shogun actually, but other than that, man, wow, he's really just, looked great.
So he didn't look so great against John Jones.
He actually did. He won the first round.
So what are you doing now with the UFC? They said that they're always going to take care of the UFC or the Ultimate Fighter 1 cast, and we've seen other guys move into offices, move into commentating, move into things of that nature. What kind of official position have they given you at the UFC office?
They do community outreach. The UFC donates a lot of money and does a lot of good stuff, and fortunately the UFC is based out of Vegas, and so am I. So a lot of it's local stuff. In fact, I'm not glad you mentioned that because I'm doing some charity stuff. I've been dropping the ball on. You should never hire me to do actual work. I don't know what they were thinking.
I was wondering if it was like community service, like when you had to wear an orange vest and go out and pick up trash on the side of the freeway type thing. Yeah,
I've done that before too. Not the worst thing that ever happened. But now it's better because I'm the guy that makes sure that everybody stays on the right side of the road and doesn't get hit by cars.
Perfect. Of course. Why not?
So you remember when you did community service and there was always some guy that was pretty cool that just signed you in? I was like, all right, man.
Yeah, he signed me in and
at 3 o'clock.
He made me fix a vacuum for 6 hours and then sent me home. That's what mine was.
Really?
Yeah.
I worked at the landfill because there was more going on. I actually liked it, So it was fun,
Yeah, no, I had no idea how to fix a vacuum. I just sat there and I tinkered with it for 6 hours, and he said, "Good, go home now." And that was it. That was my day.
Yeah, I got lucky. I got to be at the pet shelter.
Oh God! Didn't you have to incinerate animals there?
That could go wrong. Like,
No.
did you have to clean poop all day?
No, actually, all they had me do was take all the dogs out of the kennel while the other degenerates had to clean the poop. So I got to play with the dog, and then they're like, "Okay, put them back." Oh, sweet.
Goodness, wow. You lucked out.
So, Forrest, tell me, what do you think about this TRT ban across the board?
Oh, man, that is a 20-minute conversation with me. I'm pro drugs. There was let me amend that statement. I always coming up. Oh, I never used steroids until I did, but always coming up, I was against it for two reasons. One, as a professional athlete, you are a role model, and I don't think you should make kids think that they have to do a drug to compete in a sport. Look at the best guys in the world. The B.J. Penns, the John Joneses, the Chuck Liddells, Frankie Edgar. These guys don't do drugs. They're just naturally awesome. It's kind of the second-tier guys that are trying to get to the first tier that do drugs. Anderson Silva doesn't do drugs. Chris Weidman doesn't do drugs. But I had a problem with encouraging kids to do drugs, and the other thing was it was illegal. It's illegal to use drugs, and I deep down I want to teach defensive tactics at a police academy one day, like as my old folk job. So I never wanted to do anything illegal. So that's I think it's I think it's good. It's like it's basically a way of saying, if you need that, you can't do this job. So the problem was, too, all the guys on the drugs looked great. And you're like, yeah, I don't know if you need drugs. You don't look like you're lacking any testosterone there.
It's not that they look great
even
inside
more to
the
that
cage.
point, everybody does drugs all the time. I mean, how many pharmaceutical ad companies are there,
And they look great inside the cage, not so much outside the cage, with the coding incident or the wrapping a car around a pole incident. Those don't look quite as good. But moving on from there.
Wait, codeine?
I allegedly, somebody may have been giving an interview under the influence of some kind of cough syrup codeine.
Oh, yeah. Okay, now I get it. Way back. See, you're going old school on me. I was like, well,
I am old school, man. I am old school. Matter of fact, you mentioned doing defensive tactics at a police academy. When I went to the police academy, and one of the biggest reasons, and I watched UFC before this, but one of the biggest reasons
I like that. So you were also a criminal who became a cop. That's good stuff there. I like that.
And now I'm a terrible radio show host. It's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, that's all right. I mean, look how well he's worked out. International Fight Week, and we've barely talked about it, so I'm obviously not very good at my job either. Come watch the fights. It's going to be awesome. Unprecedented fan interaction with the fighters. All your favorite fighters will be there, and if they're not, I'll go get them and bring them to you. All right. So what were you saying about being terrible?
I don't even remember now.
I was going to say, did I save the interview there?
Speaking of that, is there anybody that you wish you could have fought that you didn't get a chance to? I know, you were supposed to fight Little Nog, you were supposed to fight Thiago Silva, Phil Davis. Is there anybody
I was never supposed to fight Thiago Silva.
I thought you were linked to fight him at some point, and he dropped out.
Well, who knows, man. The one guy I always say, and this is not, I love this guy, and he actually is going to be fighting there, is Vanderlei Silva. I grew up watching him and loving him, but it was that kind of, that's the weird thing about MMA. I was a big Jeremy Horn idol. I really liked him, and I wanted to fight him, but I always wanted to fight Vanderlei because he beat the crap out of me for 2 years, and we didn't get paid for it. So, it would have been nice to catch a check, And some of those sparring sessions were pretty, were better than fights I was in, for sure, more exciting than fights.
Some of the stuff that goes on behind the gym walls probably be really fun to see in person, honestly.
The concussions.
Oh, the memories that you'll never have again.
Yeah, exactly. The vague memories.
Well, Forrest, we appreciate your time. Got one more question for you before we let you go here.
Yes, I will be at the expo teaching a seminar with Stephan Bonner. You're welcome.
With Stephan Bonner? Oh, that's awesome.
The seminar that Stephan Bonner's ever taught.
I'm actually kind of excited to hear, Forrest. This is a who would win in a fight question. Go ahead, Dodge.
All right,
my goodness. Bruce Lee always wins. Bruce Lee always wins.
No. Who would win in a fight? A bear with machine guns for hands and feet, or a pterodactyl that poops chainsaws?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the point of that question is. Is that like, you remember in the 90s when there was a guy that would go around and be like, oh, hey, do you want $1 million to get in the ring with Mike Tyson? Remember, everybody's like, oh, shoot, I'd get in the ring with Mike Tyson for like 2 minutes. And then people had like the strategy on how they'd fight Mike Tyson and get their money, you know, when he kept knocking everybody out in 2 minutes.
Yeah, of course.
So the same, like, oh, I'd fight Anderson Silva for $1 million. Well, I fought him for less than that. Why not? I'd fight John Jones. No, you wouldn't. That's a bad idea.
So would you fight the bear or the pterodactyl?
Don't fight John Jones. Wait, I'm still picking Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee would F both of those guys up. No problem. The ghost of Bruce Lee would kill both of them.
Who's actually going to be available in the next UFC video game? If you're curious about that, I saw
him and the Tupac hologram will be there. So
that'd be pretty sweet.
I'm picking Tupac all day then.
I choose Tupac all day.
Yeah.
International Fight Week going on in Vegas the week of July 1st through 6th.
Make that happen. Actually, that's the best idea I've ever had.
You need to get on that.
International Fight Week. Expo, the 5th and 6th. Come check the fights out. I'll be there, and that's what counts.
And you can get tickets at UFCFanExpo.com.
Having a pool party, so that seems like it'd be fun.
Better.
Well, Forrest, it's been fun, man. Thanks so much for calling in today. Good luck at Fight Week, and we hope to talk to you again soon.
Hey, you keep on minding your own business.
I will do that, sir.
All right, thank you, guys.
Later, buddy.
Have a good one.